Do you often feel lonely, either struggling to find others to connect with, or feeling unsatisfied in the relationships that you do have? In this video, we're going to explore new research that uncovers why highly sensitive people may be more lonely, and it's not because you aren't socializing enough. Highly sensitive folks often feel misunderstood, bored, or resentful in relationships, which just feeds into feelings of loneliness and disconnection. And when I say relationships, I'm using this as an umbrella term for those connections that you have to any person in your life, friend, family, or even a romantic partner. And before we go further on this topic, it's important to know that there are two different types of loneliness that we're going to be talking about. The first is social loneliness. Either you don't have enough relationships or connections in your life, or you're not seeing those people that you are connected to as much as you need to. And the second one is emotional loneliness. You have those people to connect with, but the depth, the meaning, it just isn't there. The relationships feel more shallow or unfulfilling. So, when someone is not an HSP, they would probably assume that we struggle the most with social loneliness, not having enough of those relationships or connections. But we know that that's often not the biggest issue for us as HSPs. And a recent research study titled Highly Sensitive Persons Feel More Emotionally Lonely Than the General Population has confirmed what we've already knew and experienced all probably throughout our whole lives. So, being highly sensitive was found to have a significant effect on emotional loneliness, but not social loneliness, which makes sense since we crave depth, we crave meaningful connection, we crave fulfillment in our relationships, but often we're not getting it. So, when you've been told, probably your whole life, just like I have, that you need to get out more, you need to make more friends, it's not good to stay in or deep dive into that activity, or it's not that deep. You start to believe that the quantity of relationships you have in your life is the most important factor, but that's completely wrong for us as HSPs. It's actually the quality of connection. So, having people that will celebrate you when you get excited over the littlest things, not downplay it. You see a beautiful leaf on your evening walk, you find a new favorite ice cream or coffee spot, you finish a difficult puzzle and you feel like you want to celebrate, you feel elated. And then they will also create space for you to be on the other end, to be emotionally messy, to be vulnerable, raw, whether it's, you got slighted by a coworker who you thought you could trust, or you lost someone that you love. When they make space for you to be your full self, where you feel fully understood. That's what's usually missing for us as HSPs in all of our relationships. So if you felt resistant to socialize more, even though you're struggling with feeling lonely, this is probably why. It's because the experiences haven't always been positive. So what do you do about that? The first is accepting that your needs are valid, starting to prioritize meaningful, depthful connection with at least one person. More if that's available, but one is plenty. Instead of getting caught in that trap of thinking, I need to be socializing as often as possible with as many people as I can. Instead, invest more time with the people in your life who share your interests, your values, who have common personality traits. So you have that foundation to build a more substantial friendship or relationship on. These might be fellow HSPs, empaths, or neurodivergent folks, or at least people who are comfortable going deep, having open conversations about the inner world that you experience, but also being boundaried, right? Not expecting you to be their therapist to hold all of their emotions. So this might mean that you need to say no to those more shallow experiences so you can save energy for the connections that are most fulfilling and meaningful to you. So think about, what that balance looks like for you, and you want to make space for what you really need. So I'm curious what your experience with loneliness is and finding meaningful connections as an HSP. I invite you to share down in the comments below if you're open to that. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.